So you want to own a football stadium. Find the land, pour the concrete. Watch 80,000 people hand you their money every other Sunday. Here's the strange part. A football stadium sits empty for roughly 355 days a year. It costs more to build than a small country's GDP. The tenants who fill it, the actual football club, often don't pay you rent. And yet, the people who own these buildings are some of the wealthiest real estate operators on the planet. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how that's possible, how a stadium actually makes money, why the matchday crowd is almost irrelevant to the real economics, and why owning a football stadium isn't the business most people think it is. Stadiums come in three sizes, and there are three completely different businesses: a lower league ground, League One England, or a second division club in Europe, costs between £5 million and £30 million. Terracing, a modest roof, a small floodlight rig, and a food kiosk that sells lukewarm pies. That's it. A mid-tier stadium, think a newly promoted Premier League club or an MLS expansion side, runs you £200 million to £600 million. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, opened in 2019, cost £1.2 billion and is still the most expensive stadium ever built in the UK. Proper corporate hospitality, a retractable grass pitch over an artificial turf layer, a built-in microbrewery, a dedicated NFL spec configuration. And then there's the top of the market, where the numbers stop making sense. SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, opened in 2020, cost $5.5 billion. The entire surrounding Hollywood Park development pushed that figure toward $6 billion. It seats 70,000, expands to 100,000 for events, and has a full hotel, retail, and entertainment district built directly into the footprint. But the building is just the beginning. Two costs nobody warns you about. The first is the land. In London, a single acre near a transport hub, the minimum viable location for a 60,000-seat venue costs between £5 million and £20 million. Tottenham bought and demolished 50 residential properties just to clear the footprint. Arsenal's move to the Emirates required a 10-year planning battle with Islington Council and a full relocation program for the local community. Location isn't a detail. It is the business. The second cost is political. In the United States, roughly 70% of all NFL stadiums have been partly funded by public money. The new Buffalo Bills Stadium is costing New York state taxpayers $850 million, the largest public subsidy for a sports venue in American history. Owners have learned that threatening to relocate is the most valuable negotiating tool in professional sports. The city that doesn't pay up loses the team. The city that does pay up wonders what it bought. Most people think a stadium makes money the same way a concert venue does. People come in, buy tickets, buy food, go home. That model is almost completely wrong. Let's start with what actually drives stadium economics. Naming rights. The moment your stadium is finished, you sell the name. SoFi Technologies paid $625 million over 20 years for the right to put their name on the LA Rams ground. Allianz paid €110 million for the naming rights to Bayern Munich's arena. Emirates pays Arsenal around £10 million a year just for the letters above the door. This revenue requires zero additional footfall, zero events, zero operational cost. It is pure margin from the moment the ink dries. Corporate hospitality. This is where stadium economics actually live. A standard matchday ticket at a Premier League club costs £40 to £80. A basic corporate box, 10 to 12 seats, food and drink included, costs £80,000 to £250,000 per season. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium has 65 executive boxes, over 7,500 premium club seats, and 4 full hospitality restaurants. Across a 19-home match season, premium hospitality alone generates more revenue than the entire general admission bowl. The 80,000 ordinary fans are not the product. They are the atmosphere that justifies the price of the box above them. Non-matchday revenue. Here is the number that surprises most people. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium generates roughly 60% of its revenue on days when no football is played. Stadium tours. Conferences. Concerts. A single Taylor Swift night generates more revenue than 3 average Premier League fixtures combined. The NFL configuration. Activated twice a year when the Jacksonville Jaguars play their London games, adds another revenue layer with a completely different corporate sponsor base. Wembley Stadium hosts over 200 events a year. Only a small fraction involve a football. Matchday food and drink. A captive audience of 60,000 people with no re-entry permitted is the most profitable catering environment in existence. Margins on stadium food run 70 to 80%. A 6-pound beer costs the operator roughly 90 pence. The infrastructure to deliver 60,000 units of that beer in a 90-minute window is expensive. But once the infrastructure exists, the margin is extraordinary. Walk into any modern stadium and notice what it's actually designed for. The concourse is wide. Deliberately. Research shows that every extra meter of concourse width increases per capita food and drink spend by around 8%. Narrow concourses create queues. Queues create frustration. Frustrated people stop buying. The premium level is positioned mid-tier, not at the top, not at the pitch. Mid-tier sightlines are objectively the best in the building, and placing the most expensive seats at the best viewing position is not an accident. It is the physical argument for why the box costs what it costs. And the naming rights board is positioned for the television camera angle, not for the live crowd. Because the 80,000 people inside the stadium will see that board 19 times a year. The global TV audience will see it 3 billion times. Every architectural decision in a modern stadium is simultaneously a revenue decision. With all of this, naming rights, corporate hospitality, global TV exposure, 200 events a year, why do so many stadiums become financial disasters? 2 patterns repeat themselves, almost every time. Mistake 1. The stadium without the club. A stadium is not a standalone asset. It is infrastructure built to serve a tenant. If the tenant underperforms on the pitch, match attendance drops. If attendance drops, corporate hospitality renewals collapse, because the box at a mid-table club is a much harder sell than the box at a title contender. If hospitality renewals collapse, the naming rights partner starts asking questions at renewal time. The Detroit Lions played in Ford Field for a decade while the team was historically bad. The building was full because Detroit is a loyal market. But the premium hospitality sat half empty for years. The revenue profile of an identical building with a winning team versus a losing team is not 10% different. It can be 40% different. Mistake 2. The stadium without the city. In 2017, the Atlanta Falcons opened Mercedes-Benz Stadium, a £1.5 billion venue with a retractable origami roof and a deliberately low concession pricing strategy. $2 hot dogs, $3 beers. Attendance went up. Spend per head went up. Satisfaction scores went up. The stadium worked because Atlanta is a growing, young, event-hungry market that responded to the product. Compare that to Kaohsiung's National Stadium in Taiwan. Built for the 2009 World Games at a cost of $150 million, it became famous as the world's first solar-powered stadium. It also had no permanent tenant, no surrounding infrastructure, and no events pipeline. It sat unused 98% of the time. In 2016, its roof caught fire during one of its rare events. By 2021, it had been demolished. A stadium without demand is the most expensive parking lot ever built. Step back for a moment. The economics of stadium ownership are paradoxical in the same way casino economics are paradoxical, but inverted. A casino has a mathematical guarantee on the revenue side and uncertainty on the cost side. A stadium has the opposite. The cost structure, debt service, maintenance, staffing, utilities for a building the size of a small city is predictable to the penny. The revenue side is the variable. It depends entirely on the quality of the tenant, the pull of the market, and the operator's ability to fill 355 non-matchday nights a year with events that people want to attend. The operators who've solved this have stopped thinking about their buildings as stadiums at all. AEG, which owns or operates more than a dozen major venues globally including the Staples Center in LA and the O2 in London, does not describe itself as a stadium company. It calls itself an entertainment and real estate company that happens to own venues. The building is the anchor. The district around it, hotels, restaurants, retail, residential, is where the serious money is made. The Tottenham Hotspur Stadium regenerated an entire postcode in North London. The surrounding land value uplift alone has returned billions to the borough. The stadium was the catalyst. The neighborhood was the investment. Let's close with real figures. 2 scenarios. Scenario 1. A mid-tier Premier League stadium. Capacity 35,000, cost £400 million. Annual matchday revenue approximately £40 million. Naming rights, hospitality, and non-matchday events add another £60 million. Total revenue, roughly £100 million per year. Operating costs, including debt service, £70 million. Net, £30 million annually. Payback period at that rate, 13 years. Not glamorous, but stable, recession-resistant, and appreciating in value every year the club performs. Scenario 2. A destination stadium. SoFi Stadium, $6 billion all in. Estimated annual revenue, $500 to $600 million. NFL games, college football, concerts, the Super Bowl, the 2028 Olympics. Net operating profit before debt, approximately $200 million. Payback on a 30-year horizon. But the surrounding Hollywood Park District, residential, retail, hotel, is projected to generate another $1 billion in cumulative value before the stadium is halfway paid off. The building is not the investment. The building is the permission slip for every investment around it. So if you decide to buy a football stadium, remember what you're actually buying. Not a venue, not a match day business, not even a sports asset. You're buying most expensive anchor tenant in the history of real estate. A building so significant that cities will pay to have it, brands will pay to name it, and 80,000 people will queue in the rain just to be inside it. Survive long enough, and the city grows around you.